Greetings, esteemed listeners. How fares everyone? Today, once again, I return with an exceedingly enigmatic and terrifying tale. I sincerely hope this narrative resonates with you. Without further protraction, let us commence. Following the descent of evening, the village would lapse into an uncanny silence. Some opined that such quietude was unnatural. Others contended that the nocturnal air carried the lingering scent of antiquity. When Shawon first arrived in the village, he had dismissed such remarks with a derisive laugh, yet he could not overlook the palpable unease with which everyone spoke of the particular residence he had leased. The dwelling stood at the village's outermost boundary, immediately abutting the paddy fields. Encircling it were ancient ceres and banyan trees, their crowns raised as though they had long concealed some arcane secret. Before the house lay a fractured stone stairway. The door bore archaic carvings upon its timber, and upon entering, one was assailed by a frigid odor, as if no breath had been drawn within for decades. An elderly villager had once intimated to him that no occupant remained long in that house. The elder offered no explicit declaration, merely raising his gaze and murmuring in measured tones, "It would be prudent to feign unawareness of the nocturnal sounds." Shawon, with a light smile, had replied that he placed no faith in such superstitions. The inaugural night transpired in peculiar tranquility. The stridulation of crickets outside, the intermittent barking of distant canines, all seemed altogether ordinary. Yet as the night deepened, a faint sound suddenly emanated from within the room. It resembled the deliberate placement of feet upon the wooden floor. Reclined upon his bed with eyes closed, Shawon endeavored to discern whether the sound was real or merely a figment of his imagination. Though the sound ceased, it recommenced shortly thereafter. This time it was nearer, as though some entity were circumnavigating his bed. The instant Shawon opened his eyes and sat upright, the sound abruptly abated. In the chamber's obscurity he could perceive nothing. Only moonlight seeping through the aperture of the window cast elongated shadows upon the floor. Those shadows trembled intermittently, yet there was no breeze without. Though he dismissed the matter lightly the following morning, the same occurrence transpired again that night. This time it was not merely the sound of footsteps. Occasionally, it felt as though someone were regarding him intently. As he attempted to succumb to sleep, he sensed that someone stood in the corner of the room, exhaling. That respiration was deliberate, ponderous, and unnaturally glacial. On the third night, Shawon resolved to remain vigilant. He extinguished the lamp and reclined, yet kept his eyes open. For a considerable duration, nothing transpired. Then, gradually, the shadow beside the doorway began to intensify. Initially, it appeared to be merely the interplay of light and obscurity. Yet after some moments, he comprehended. The shadow was not static, it was in motion, as though a form were slowly coalescing. Shawon's heart commenced a violent palpitation. He attempted to reassure himself. This was but a visual aberration. Yet, the shadow elongated incrementally and advanced toward him. It then seemed as though the chamber's temperature had plummeted precipitously. Respiration became labored. He sought to sit upright, but his corporeal form seemed petrified. Before his eyes, he distinctly perceived, from within the shadow, two pallid eyes were incandescent. Those eyes gazed directly upon him, yet there was no visage, no corporeality, only shadow and eyes. Suddenly, he felt as though someone were whispering most softly into his ear. The words were indistinct, yet they harbored a supplication. It seemed as though someone sought to remind him of something he had forgotten, or perhaps never known. The subsequent morning, Shawon approached the village elder. He could not inquire directly, yet the elder himself began to speak slowly. Many years passed. A solitary man had resided in this house. He reputedly trusted no one, perpetually immuring himself within. One night his cry was heard, yet none ventured near. The following day, upon opening the door, it was observed no one was within, yet upon the floor lay the imprint of an aberrant shadow. The elder stated that none knew whither the man had gone, yet occasionally at night, the sound of footsteps is heard within the chamber, as though he yet walks, searching for something. That night Shawon could not sleep. He understood that the house was not merely a place. It was as if it were a memory, a detained existence. He gazed toward the door, and it seemed to him, tonight, that shadow would return again. Yet on this occasion, something transpired differently. No shadow materialized before the doorway. Rather, his own shadow upon the floor commenced to stir gradually. He realized that his body was immobile, yet the shadow moved. His chest grew frigid. It seemed as though he himself were departing from his corporeal form. The atmosphere of the room grew oppressive, and at that moment, very softly, very near, he sensed that someone was once more speaking into his ear. Yet this time the utterance was not distinct. Rather, it was a sensation, as though someone were saying, "He is no longer alone." What transpired thereafter, none could affirm with certainty. Only some days later, the villagers observed that the door of the house stood ajar, with none within. Yet upon the floor, two shadows, one aged, the other nascent, had coalesced into one. And at night, occasionally, from within that house, the sound of footsteps is still heard. Someone walks, slowly, most slowly, as though searching for someone, or escorting someone away with them. To hear further such spectral narratives interwoven with mystery, remain with us and do not neglect to convey your impressions of this tale. For now, I take my leave. May you all remain well and in sound health. Such is my earnest entreaty.